Hello, my Wealthy Wife tribe and friends. This is Miss Sofia here at Wealthy Wife. How are you doing? I wanted to take the time out first to say thank you for joining me. I do appreciate you being here. I'm going to get right into topic today. I one of my sisters. I saw this particular Instagram reel come through my one of my Instagram pages, and then one of my sisters sent it to me later that evening. Now, I'm sharing this for a reason because it's about mindset. Mindset is such a very, very important thing when it comes to how you're looking to live your life, be present in your world, the experiences you're having, the romance that you're having. It has so much to do with it because most people will literally hold themselves back because of fear and worries that have nothing to do with anything except for the fact that they actually need to put effort behind making those dreams and desires become a reality. Now, here's the statement. The woman who made this statement actually is she does luxury branding. She's a coach in the space of luxury branding, and she says this: you cannot serve the luxury class until you find out what they actually want, and stop projecting your middle class wants and desires onto them. Let me say it again. You cannot serve the luxury class until you find out what they actually want, and stop projecting your middle class wants and desires onto them. Now, I'm going to do it one more time because I need this to sink into your brain. You cannot serve the luxury class until you find out what they actually want and stop projecting your middle class wants and desires onto them. Now you're thinking, Ms. Sophia, because I know that statement probably pissed some people off and they saw it online, but it's the truth. Middle class mindset, poverty mindset, rich and wealthy mindset are three different mindsets. You have one mindset that is definitely about survival. Poverty mindset is survival. Survival, survival, survival. That's it. Isn't thinking much beyond survival. Middle class has a tad more leeway, but it is conditioning that tells you not to rock the boat. Don't do anything out of the ordinary. Stay within your lane. That's the group that tells you to be humble. You need to humble yourself and be humble. Nah. Okay? Humble, literally, I'll say it again, literally means to be stepped upon and be treated in a lowly fashion. No, thank you. And that's also the bunch that worries about the respectability. Am I respectable? To who? The other people that don't like their lives? No, we don't care about that, okay? We don't. Respectability is not, you being a great person, a gracious person, somebody that people actually enjoy, honor, and respect has nothing to do with you being respectable. Because usually when someone tells you to be respectable, they're basically telling you to humble yourself and stay in your lane. There is nothing flattering about that word, okay? Now, but once again, it's all about, don't rock that boat. Everyone's doing it this way. I don't know why you got to be different. Ooh, middle class. Get a good education. Get a good job. I come out of middle class. I can discuss us, okay? I can discuss us because I remember the messaging. But I have a wealth mindset that has helped me propel and move into a different space. Because when you move into the space of rich and wealthy, it's a different mindset. Because even if the person has come out of middle class, they still had a vision of something bigger, better, and more. And when you're moving from middle class and you have a different mindset, you're willing to take chances and risk. That's the difference between even because it's even happening because even if you're coming with old money, even old money has to understand that because when old money got stuck and wasn't making changes and taking risks, they lose their money. So I'm just saying, even the wealthy class can, so if the people or didn't make the money, because usually it's the founder that was the one who was taking the risk. The founder is the first generation person, the person who established the family's riches and wealth. They are the ones who took the hit, so to speak. And when you get through a few generations, and because they didn't have to earn it and work for it, they tend to get a little scary sometimes because they're trying to hold on to the money. Here's the thing about money. She is an energy. She does not like to be hoarded. She dislikes being contained, meaning not giving her purpose. She loves purpose because her goal is to multiply and become bigger, better, and more. This is feminine energy. So, rich and wealthy, like I said, especially if they stay aware of what they're doing and stay highly charged and energized, they have no issue with taking risk. And they're also the ones that are always taking mentoring, personal development, learning more. How can I be better? Where are the experts that can teach me what I need to learn and know? And not just in reference to business. They also do this with their relationships. Am I saying everybody? Of course not. But then again, that's called human nature. But the ones who are thriving and successful, they're always learning and they are fearless in that need to know. I understand this because that is the nature of my personality, always has been. I will take the chances. Do I get nervous at times? Yes, I do. I'm not gonna lie and say I don't. There are things I've learned over the years that have definitely had me going, oh crap. Woo, deep breath, woosah. And yes, there are times I've gotten myself stuck because once again, it's an evolution. But the difference between me and the individuals that are in the space of where I grew up is I will get unstuck because I can see the big picture. And I am willing to unlearn the things that were taught to me that would have kept me stuck. Because if my parents had had their way, not so much my father's more of a free spirit than my mother, but if my mother had her way, I would not be who I am right now. And I guess and I love my mother. I said before, my parents are both ancestors at this point in time. And I love my mother. I learned so many things from her. But getting out there and going for what I desired, nope, that wouldn't have been her. Because she was always so nervous about, well, what if you fail? That was she would say those things to me. I'd want to do something, I'd share it with her. She's like, I'm not so sure. Why are you going to do this? I go, because I really want to do this. Well, I'm not so sure. What if you don't make it? What if you fail? What if you have, she find all these reasons why I shouldn't be doing it or wanting it. And I'm like, I'll take my chances. I'll take my chances. I have to know. And I think I know I shared this with you guys, some of my older audios and videos, that she and I had a conversation one time, and she was saying, I was discussing something with her. It must have been something I was working on. And she's like, you know what? She's going to tell you something. I'm going to share something with you. I go, what is it, Mom? She goes, you scare me. She goes, you honest and truly have over the years, you've done things I literally I've been scared for you. I'm like, I go, what do you mean? She goes, you're fearless. She goes, you have no fear. She goes, you will take risk and do things and take chances that have made me nervous watching you do it. I'm like, that's interesting. I go, well, at this point in time, I go, you know that if it's something that I really need to know, I'm going to do it because that's how I'm wired. I go, but Mom, I'm far from fearless. Let me put it this way. I don't take risk. I had to put it this way. I go, I am fearless in so many ways. I go, reckless, no. I go, you're kind of confusing being fearless with being reckless. Reckless, no. No, 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 no. I go, I will weigh out the pros and cons before I do something. If the pros outweigh the cons, that means go forward. If the cons outweigh the pros, that means I need to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. Because if it's something I still desire to do, I'm going to do it. Because I need to know. And that, once again, is what's made it possible for me to move through my world and my life the way I do and have the experiences that I have, and even how Wealthy Wife came about. Once again, my ministry is something that I had to step into and grow into. Because as you guys know, who've been with me for a while, I didn't want to write the book Wealthy Wife. Was exhausted. I didn't want to write the book. I was like, ugh. Because something inside of me even knew that she was going to be something more than just the book. And I wasn't sure I was ready to take it on. Okay? That's my confession. I wasn't sure I wanted to take on the energy because I saw the projection of what a wealthy wife it is and who she's growing into, because she's still expanding. And I always talk about wealthy wife in third person because while I birthed the energy of her, she is her own energy. But it is my energy. It is my purpose. It is a vision and something that I have brought with me to this planet to do, because it's so much bigger than just me. It's so much bigger than just affluent, rich, and wealthy dating. That's part of it. That is absolutely part of it, because those resources combined with the right partner, you in the right headspace, you in the right relationship with the right man, you have the capacity to literally change this world in the most positive way, because it requires resources, money, emotional well-being, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual well-being, as well as money to make these positive changes. Once again, people want to fuss and complain. I go, what are you doing to be part of the change? Because you sitting in your negative energy, you sitting on pause, is doing nothing to assist. You're just adding to the problem. And that's where you keep having problems. It's the truth. So there's a saying out there called, if you be the change you desire to see. And that is such a profound statement. Be the change you desire to see, because it does start with you. So when they're mentioning the fact that, as a middle class person, you cannot be in a space of rich and wealthy if you want to keep dragging your concepts, your myths, your fears, your whatever into the space of rich and wealthy. I'll give another example. When I first came in the world of sales, And I know I shared this before too. I was working for basically a charm school, which they need to bring those back. I don't know if they still exist any place. I'm sure but they're making a comeback, thankfully. But essentially, it was a charm school. I just call it a charm school with a modeling agency attached to it, which as it turned out, is still a thriving modeling agency as we speak, international agency. But I remember the tuition for the school was more than I could have afforded to pay for a child. My children were very small at the time, so plus I had boys, but they had a program for boys too. But it was something that I personally wouldn't be able to afford to pay for if one of my children had wanted to come to that school at that time in my life. So I would have issues sometimes closing the sale, so to speak, because people would come in there, and sometimes, just based upon their conversation or based upon perception. And I learned this was a valuable lesson that I learned. Once again, the woman actually went to one of the owners of the school. She brought this to my attention. And I'm going to bring it to your attention as well. She was like, because you don't know, you do not know who has money. Never judge a book by its cover. I learned that lesson so beautifully. Okay, because there are times I was assuming that the people couldn't afford it. That's audacious. That is some balls, literally, for me to make that assumption about someone else's life. I don't know their story, but based upon what I thought I was seeing, which was rude on my part, not intentionally rude, but that's very rude to make that assumption about someone. You don't know their story. You don't know what they've been doing. So she finally told me, she goes, you know what? She goes, I understand that you couldn't afford to pay for that right now. She goes, but never assume that the person sitting across from you can't afford it. She goes, you don't know. You don't know. And I go, you know what? You're right. And I go, that's very. So she goes, so you basically are denying these individuals an opportunity to enroll their children in the program. She goes, is the program beneficial? I go, oh my gosh, yes. Because I had students in the program, and I'd watch these very shy, I mean, literally closed off, scared little girls become these confident, graceful young women over and over and over again. I thought, you know what? It's more than worth it. She goes, and take yourself out of the equation. She goes, take yourself out of the equation. I was like, okay. And once I started doing that, oh my gosh. One, I had more enrollments because at that point in time, I was not trying to judge a book by what I thought was its cover. And then I would hear people share this with me that they had been in like maybe the year before. They came in, their daughter, because they filled out the form and at some fair or some whatever, and they came in to hear about it because she wanted it so desperately. And the year before, they couldn't afford it. They couldn't. It was not in their budget, and they're like, can't do it, baby girl. But they would spend 12 months saving their money. Dad would get a second job. Mom would find extra ways to make money. And they would put this money aside. So by the time they had come in 12 months later, now they're sitting in front of me. They have the resources to pay cash for this opportunity for their daughter. And I saw this happen also in the weight loss industry. Now, why am I sharing this? Because we will find a way to do whatever we really desire. So I learned to not judge. I don't say shit. I don't. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to judge because I've also learned this. There are people that you thought should be able to have it because appearance wise, it looked like they did, but they are so over their head and trying to maintain their appearance, had the fancy house, had the fancy car, had the fancy clothes, had the extra debt that goes along with it. Because they were so worried about appearance, they weren't thinking about the substance. Now, how many of you are struggling with that? And I think about that, especially in reference to after the rich and wealthy dating, the lifestyle and the process. I've seen so many women that have made the assumption that to attract a man with money, that you have to look like money too. You have to have the designer clothes. You need to be driving the Mercedes. You need to be doing all these things. And I'll say it again, you don't. Do you need like someone that they can actually elevate? Yes, that you do. You need to take care of yourself. You need to dress well based upon what you can afford to do, based upon taking care of clothing, putting clothing on your body that actually is great for your body type. You have to know yourself. But if a man needs you to look a certain way and he's got the money to do it, he will pay for your wardrobe, darling. He will. I know this for a fact. I've experienced it. They will take you into a store that has a doggone personal stylist, and they're like, you know what? My beautiful lady here, we're going to do ABC. I've got these things coming up, but we need to redo her wardrobe. And they'll fund the whole process. If he needs you driving a different type of car because it'll make him feel better, he'll buy the car. If he needs you living in a different zip code, honey, he'll pay for that too. All right? But here's the thing. You need to be energetically, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually able to handle that. You need to be ready because there are times there's a certain conversation you're listening for. There are certain aspirations you're listening for. What do you desire for your life? And not just the ABCs of your job or of your business. Because I teach the goddaughters not to discuss their jobs or their businesses, just so you know, initially. They can share that with somebody eventually, but I tell them first and foremost, he needs to get to know you. Not all the attachment, so to speak, of you, but he needs to get to know you, your visions, your desires, your dreams. And for you to be able to articulate that beautifully, you need to understand who you are. Once again, Wealthy Wife 3. Who are you? What do you desire in your whys? So as I've been sitting here putting together different stuff, different guides, and I just completed a brand new book slash guide slash program for the Become a Muse program. It's already a great program in and of itself, but I get so excited because I have the tools now to seriously help me take all that I have and even fine tune it and refine it even more. The joy that I find in being able to do this and what's going to be coming down, what I'll be offering on the academy, well, through the church, because basically it's been going through the temple. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we're doing right now, the temple has, it's obvious, it's a school piece, that's the academy. But I always think about that because when I'm talking to women and working with women, and when I've been doing interviews for private tutoring, because right now private tutoring is open, I have some openings for private tutoring right now, and I have the interviews, and I hear all these aspirations, and then people want to do nothing. I'm like, okay, that makes no sense to me. You have the aspiration, you know that it will benefit you, it'll take you into it will propel you up to where you desire to be, but that middle set mindset gets in the way. Well, are there any guarantees that it's going to work? There are no guarantees that it's going to work. Are you going to do the work? Are you going to take the information I share with you and put it to use? Are you going to follow the guidance and guidelines I put in front of you? Because I know what I do works. I got plenty of goddaughters to back that up. I have a lifestyle that can back that up. Like I said, just because I don't share it with the general public doesn't mean I'm not enjoying what I do. Trust and know that I do immensely. And as I am planning, because once again, that's something else you don't understand, you may not realize, is that you have to plan. The wealthy plan. They plan what's going on in a month, the year, 5 years, 10 years. As far as Rockefeller was a perfect example. He planned 100 years out for his family, and they are still reaping the benefits of what he envisioned for his family. Long after his death, we are generations into the Rockefeller family. But that's how they think. They're not just thinking about in this moment. If I take this information and knowledge, how is it going to transform my life long term? So I know. So as I'm sort of planning what's going on in my world right now, because like I told you guys, I'm in transition right now. I've had some major purges take place in my life that were unexpected, beneficial, but unexpected. Like, oh wow, wasn't expecting that. And there's been some things going on behind the scenes that once again are clearing my path for my next elevation. Because even though I sit in a space of mastery, because I am constantly learning and growing and developing, I'm still evolving. There are even things that I'm learning at higher levels. And some of this stuff, eventually it'll become part of Wealthy Wife, but until I understand how to articulate it and share it, it's not going to be part of Wealthy Wife initially. Maybe the next year. It might actually make it into Wealthy Wife next year. We'll see. But I'm learning information because I'm all about legacy. Learning how to create a lasting legacy that will be here well beyond my physicality. How am I setting my family up? What is my family going to look like, 50 years, 100 years out from now? What will be happening after I no longer walk this space? And I'm going to be here for a while. Not like I'm going anywhere anytime soon. That I understand and know. but also in reference to wealthy wife, because I said before, wealthy wife, the goddaughters are a legacy. They are part of my legacy. Those of you that listen to me here on YouTube and hear what I share and put that into motion, into use, you're part of my legacy because it's through my teachings, the information that I share, that information, that you're not just taking it and sitting on it, you're actually applying it. You are also part of my legacy. But the bigger part of my legacy in reference to are the goddaughters I actually have inside the academy, because they are working on actual coursework. They're going deeper into the information. So that's why I say I do appreciate you being here. And I mean that in all sincerity. But I got to ask you, is your mindset stopping you from actually progressing into what you claim you want? Like I said, because what I'm learning is women are not afraid to go for the little stuff. And when I say little stuff, I'm talking about the handbags. Someone's going to break off a little change to pay your rent, going to break a little change to pay your car note. And I'm putting it just the way I'm putting it, because that's exactly what it is if you're dealing with a man that really has resources. Now, if it's a gentleman that doesn't have tons of resources and he's doing that for you, okay, that's awesome, because it doesn't just have to be a rich and wealthy man doing that. There are men out there that have money that they have a desire to share with women that they hold in high esteem. And ideally, because I'll say this again, I teach reciprocity here. I still see so much greed out there amongst women about what men have to do for them just because. Oh my flipping goodness. The audacity is insane. Not offering him anything of value that's going to really help this man feel good about what he's doing. So when he stops doing it, they want to cop an attitude like, but honey, you didn't offer any value to the man's life. You were just a flipping bill. And even they get tired of it. If you are really proving yourself to be a liability, they are going to cut their losses and move on. These are very intelligent men. So the goal is to learn how to be the asset. That's why I discussed becoming a muse. That's why I'm discussing the paramour, because the paramour is the lover. She is the beloved. First of self, her life, her romances. Because you understand how to be the lover and of self, that means you are a vessel that's open to receive as well as to overflow and to share. There are so many men that are searching for their beloved. And men with money, those are going to have long money, not just the ones, I guess, that are high earners. High earners, once again, I'm not knocking them, but if they don't have a vision and a plan, if something happens and they lose their job, I've said before, I've watched people disappear. Because there was no plan. The plan was his paycheck. I don't care if the paycheck is $1 million a year. If their lifestyle is matching $1 million a year lifestyle, which means things are super expensive and no one's thinking about what to do in case something happens. Ladies, that is not a wealth plan. Okay? That's scary. We work on wealth plans over here, just so you know. So when having conversations with women, and like I said, and it's like, yeah. Or once again, they may be involved with some of these men actually have resources. And I'm listening to talk about just the little things. I'm thinking, you aren't even propelling that and use. I'm like, oh my God, I just, okay. It's like, oh my gosh. And they know they're struggling. That's the part that gets me. They know they don't know what they're doing. I'm like, then make the investments so that you can learn how to utilize and enjoy and elevate your experiences. I'll say it again, because I said the middle class is always worrying about, well, you got a money back guarantee. Am I sure it's going to work? No. If you don't work, it is not going to work. I can promise you that. If you don't do the work, if you don't take this seriously, if you do not become the devotee of what your journey is, you will fail. It's just how that works, because you set yourself up for failure because you're not working the plan. That's with anything. That could be your career, definitely with space of romance, because most people still make the assumption that romance should just magically happen without any work. Everything is work, because dealing with another whole person is work. Because you have to understand how to be present with this person, know yourself, learn them, make the compromises, because you're going to have negotiations and compromise in relationships. You're never going to get every flippin' thing you want. It's impossible. But you can receive most of the things you desire. if you understand how to articulate those needs and how to also, once again, be beneficial to the individuals that you're looking to receive from. If you're coming to this game selfish, gimme, 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 me, you may accumulate a ton of stuff. And you're going to be left with just a bunch of stuff. And no connections. No, nothing. Just a bunch of stuff. And I'm saying it again, if you're going to be in the space after rich and wealthy dating, my goal is that you guys are learning how to actually parlay these experiences into something bigger, better, and more for the totality of your life. So let me ask the question again. Is your middle class mindset stopping you, preventing you from actually really living a full life? I can tell you it is. Once again, I can tell you that it is. Now, some folks, once again, middle class is where they desire to be. They're happy in that space. That's wonderful. I only want you guys to be happy. That is always my goal. And whatever that joy looks like to you, because I'll say it again, not everybody desires affluent, rich, and wealthy. They don't. Because there are expectations and there are things that must be done in those spaces that some folks are not willing to learn. They're not going to make the investments in the extra things they need to learn to be able to be there and thrive. They don't understand the space because God knows, I've given you guys enough information over the years. I have broke this down in so many different ways on so many different audios. Some of you are understanding it and getting it. Some of you just don't. And you probably never will. And that's, once again, perfectly fine. It's not a lifestyle that you actually crave to be a part of anyway. But if you're a woman who literally does, you're looking at it saying, I desire to have this full experience, then you need to make the investments in your education. Once again, not just learning some tips and tricks. Say that 3 times fast. That are just going to get you a couple things here and there, but you didn't understand the whole essence of the experience and your whys behind it. Who do you desire to have in your world? What type of men do you desire to be with? I did the world, what was it, the last, one of the guys I did, recent guys I did, the world of affluent, wealthy wives, world of affluent, rich and wealthy men. Their hobbies and interests, basically their luxurious lifestyle. That guy offered so much information to give you guys a behind the scenes peek into the world of these men. I have, like I said, the Paramour Bible. Oh my gosh, that Paramour Bible, that one, I just, wow. Okay. Like I said, I had somebody tell me when she was going through this, she goes, just the table of contents alone. She goes, reading the table of contents helped me understand that I need to get my life together. Because it goes over so many aspects of how to be in this space of affluent, rich, and wealthy, lifestyle, romance, who you are as that beloved. And the parable, once again, whether you're going to be in the space of becoming the wife, or if you're going to stay single and have your own, tribe or collection of men that actually pour into you. Because I'll say it again, the courtesan lifestyle is still very much alive and well and happening in our world. We just don't call it the courtesan lifestyle anymore. We have different names for it. I know women who are enjoying it. It's quite lovely, just so you know. But the goal first is to learn who you are and then understand the kind of world you desire to live in and create for yourself and experience with the right people. And also learning your purpose. That's the one thing I think I said before. One of the reasons why I closed down the VIP membership was the fact that I have so many goddaughters in there. Got some brand new ones that came in at the end of the before I closed it out. There were some very wise women that actually took advantage of the final days of the membership. But I have goddaughters that have been in there for months, and I'm watching them finally shift. I said once again, I'm watching them shift, finally embracing their purpose. That's one of the main reasons why I closed the VIP membership. Because I'm not looking for new people to come in there that still are kind of wobbling around. Once again, the new ones that came in, not a problem. Not an issue or problem. Because listening to them speak, some of the things I've heard them share, they're in the right place. They're open-minded and they're ready to do the work. So I don't mind them being there. It's going to be a great experience for them. And it gives the more established goddaughters a chance, once again, also share their experience and wisdom, which helps, once again, cultivate and elevate everyone. But as I am now moving forward into what's coming next for Wealthy Wife, because I do have a 6-month to a year program I'm working on. I do have VIP. I have different types of coaching programs, tutoring programs available as well that I haven't introduced you guys to just yet because I've also expanded on them. Because I'm in the position now of understanding and knowing that there is a certain there are certain women that I'm looking for. I'm just going to be honest. There are certain women I'm looking to work with, and they are the ones that are ready to stand in the energy of becoming that beloved, the paramour, the muse, and be in a position to once again bring into her world these men that are a great fit for her. She's a great fit for them. She moves through their world with confidence, and that means the etiquette, the socializing, the how to be in the space of whatever it is she desires to be for him. If she's going to be the wife, what does it look like to be a wealthy wife? So once again, I've done so many videos on that topic, and folks are still asking. I'm like going to, are you taking notes when you listen to the videos? I have given so much information out about the expectations of that particular position, and folks are still like, lottie dottie. I'm like, okay, you don't want the position. That's fine. But they keep asking me questions sometimes about, well, what do I do? They have, read, listen to the audios, take notes, get yourself into classes. You got to understand who you are, your personal brand of beauty, how you speak, where you want to show up, what are you doing, what value do you add, what are your expectations? How are you going to be beneficial in that man's world, and how is he benefiting you? Because when you are the muse, you are his inspiration. How are you inspiring men? One of the reasons why there's so many issues between men and women right now is because women, there's not much inspiration about women these days, because so many women are still imitating the energy of men. Other men are not inspired by each other. They admire each other. I don't want to say that inspired. Okay, let me explain it. Excuse me, the way men are inspired by other men is aspiration, meaning that man is doing something that other man desires to do. So that's usually business, career, maybe some personality traits that he desires to add to himself to become a better man. But what makes a man go out here and work himself into the ground, what makes a man go out here and do the things they do in reference to their businesses, the things that they acquire, that is for the eye of a woman or women. Even Mr. Samuels, who some of y'all still get pissed when I mention the man's name, which cracks me up, even he said in his FBI, the last word for the FBI was it feminine beauty and inspiration. This was a man who, even though his lifestyle didn't line up with what he was teaching at times, and I've also shared with you guys before, a man's game changer and what he really desires may not always be what he's discussing or what is showing up in his process, because that process may have been where he was, but then he understands what he desires. That's why I always tell you guys, it's important that you understand who you are, and that way you stay unfazed by all of the cray conversations that take place out there that are trying to explain to you why you need to be something other than. But you have to be a quality woman. And that's not just, being able to cook and clean and knock out babies. I'm not knocking. I'm a mom. I've got 3 children, 3 sons. Love the fact that I'm a mom. But I am far more than just my uterus, okay? Or my abilities to cook and keep a house, which I understand and know how to do those things too. I can literally run an estate. I can run a massive estate. I have the skill sets. But even that individual mentioned the importance of a woman being in the inspiration of her being a man's muse. You may have not have heard that particular video. I listened to it, okay? I've listened to them. I said before, I study people. I research stuff before I discuss it, okay? I'm not just making willingly statements just because. No, I study. It's important to me to be informed before I bring information to you, because you need to be open-minded as well. You need to study. You've got to do your research. I say it again, for those that still get caught up in their feelings, get out of your feelings if they're preventing you from actually opening up to learning. Emotions are something that are very, very useful when you understand how to utilize them. But some folks get so locked up in this cray and all these limitations and the negativity and the worrying about all these things that have nothing to do with anything. It's programs have been taught to you to keep you stuck. So when you're ready to come out of it, that's when my goddaughters come into the space of Wealthy Wife. That's when my listeners here on my YouTube channel are taking information and using it to elevate their world and their life. That's when they finally get themselves prepared to come into Wealthy Wife. Because I'm learning that while some individuals come in quicker, then I'm learning that the average goddaughter has been listening to me for about 2 years by the time she comes into the space of wealthy wife. Now I have some coming faster, much quicker, because they're prepped and ready, but some because they're kind of the messaging. My messaging is not standard typical messaging, because I'm letting you know that you do have a say in your life. Matter of fact, you're the one who has the biggest say in your life. But it's about learning how to be fearless. It's about willing to make the investments in your personal development. Like I said, for those that want to keep going here and getting on these doggone degrees, why? What are you doing on the personal development side? How are you developing you? I'll say it again. Those degrees are not going to do much for you if you don't understand what you're doing behind them. I work for a university. I've seen it. It can be beneficial if it has a purpose behind it. But if not, you're just racking up with more debt just to be able to claim and say that you have all these degrees. And I'll say it again. Men don't care. The ones that really have the resources, they don't care. They don't need your degrees. They don't need your money. They desire you. You, a woman. You in your glory. You in your beauty, your brilliance, your joy. That's what they desire. And then have the capacity to learn how to run these households and to run these things that are going to contribute to your legacy, his and yours. And if you decide to stay single, then it's learning how to articulate your vision so that the men that do arrive are able to assist you. They find such great joy in doing this. But we need more of you prepared to receive it and to be able to also be the guidance and the wisdom that they desire and they are seeking. Say it again, I love what I do. I see the end results. I see the growth. Yes, the goddaughters stumble periodically. We all do on this journey. But man, when they stand back up and dust themselves off going, I get it. It's like, awesome. Then they go deeper into their studies. Then they begin to take themselves seriously. And I love when that finally happens, because they stop second guessing themselves. They finally understand that purpose, that vision, that desire that has been speaking to you forever and a day, that you're finally owning. When they finally own it, oh my God, it's just gorgeous. So anyway, what are you waiting for? Is that middle class mindset sucking the life out of you? Does it have you stuck? Are you afraid to progress? Are you afraid to be really the bigger version of yourself? Are you afraid to become the beloved? If so, why? Get yourself a copy of the Paramour Bible. Once again, I say it again, it's a great way to really introduce yourself and begin to embed into the information of becoming the muse. Of becoming that one-of-a-kind woman who is irresistible to life, men, and money, plus health and well-being. So anyway, get your copy. Click the video description there. Get your copy. I'm going to be discussing it more, and there are additional teaching and actual programs going to be coming out around the Bible. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.